Welcome back to another episode of the Health Explained Show. I'm your host, Dr. Betsy Greenleaf, and this is brought to you in part by House Call VR and WYTV7.org. I'm very excited because we have Dr. Rajka with us today. So welcome, Dr. Rajka. Dr. Rajka, I apologize. So I should do your whole last name, but I don't want
There's no need. Yeah, everyone just knows me now by Dr. Rajka. Too many last names, right?
Yeah. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I like you. I'm a kind of a perpetual educator, and this is one of my passions is educating people so they too can have the energy of their youth, which is one of my my hero's journey, really.
How did you get into your medical field?
I trained traditionally as a family doctor, and when I first came out, I felt like I wasn't healing anyone. And people would walk away and you tell them their labs are normal. We've all who've gone on this journey in transitioning to functional medicine, understand this all too well. And it really struck me. One of the first patients I treated back in 97, I was practicing in the most beautiful location in the world, I think, right outside of Seattle in Everett, Washington. And I'd seen her for fatigue, and I noticed this commonality in what they teach you in family medicine is if someone's fatigued, you do the exam, you do the blood work, and heaven forbid now doctors don't even do exams. I mean, those visits are 7 minutes. And when everything is normal, you say, hey, maybe you're depressed. Why don't you try this Prozac? So I was one of those Prozac pushers back in the day, and I'm mortified that I ever did but I always had this feeling that that wasn't the whole picture. It wasn't a Prozac deficiency. People who are fatigued don't have a deficiency in Prozac. And so I was able to cure a woman who had fatigue, and we worked on it together. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I hadn't trained in any integrative or functional medicine. And it was my first kind of tip off. And I was constantly searching. And when I found functional medicine, where it ties into my journey is we were on a celebratory trip. We had lived abroad for 8 years. We were super excited to be getting back to family and friends. And even though it was a fruitful journey, we have friends all over the world now. My liver was failing. And my children, who it felt like everything in my life I wanted almost wasn't achieved because of this level of fatigue, including having kids. And then there's so many diagnoses. And no one knew why. And I distinctively remember I was sitting at the side of the pool. We'd rented a little private villa with the pool. It seems really luxurious. It was super affordable in Sri Lanka, having a great time. And all I could think of as they were squealing, watch me, mama, was that I'm going to leave these children motherless. And I kept envisioning, oh my God, they're going to grow up without a mommy. They're going to grow up and get through high school without a mommy to coach them on bullying, on what to do about applying to college and what to do about finding a job. I wasn't going to see, them graduate college or get married or have their first child. And like most Serbian good women, we all live for our kids and our grandkids. Well, I do anyway. And I thought I'm never going to see these grandkids or sing them, lullabies like I sang to my kids every night when they went to bed until they no longer wanted me to. And it was right after that trip, I made this conscious decision. I am not going to leave these children motherless. I found functional medicine. I found a mentor who helped me through it. And believe it or not, in 4 to 6 weeks, my liver enzymes were normal, much to the shock of my allopathic gastroenterologists who were convinced I had autoimmune disease. And with autoimmune hepatitis, the data or the statistics are if you're not on steroids, the risk of mortality is 50% in 3 to 5 years. And that was 10 years ago. And I never got the diagnosis. I was never on steroids. And since those 10 years, I have now recovered the energy and multiple symptoms and diseases of thousands of people. I would say well over 10,000 people. I went on a couple of weeks ago, as you know, to launch my first best-selling book, Energize, Feel Fantastic Forever, where I outline my 3D protocol, the same protocol that has other functional medicine doctors calling me the go-to doctor for doctors, and my friends and family saying, nickname me the Energizer Bunny. And so I'm just super thrilled that instead of helping thousands, now the goal and the passion is that I'll be able to help millions just with this one book.
Wow. You're doing so much amazing, amazing work. When it comes to, and I think I was gonna say I've been in this boat. Like, I think we all could use a lot more energy. So, where do you even start, and how do you explain it to patients?
Yeah. So I'd love to start with my theory. And again, it's a theory is that most of us um, are born with vitamin and mineral deficiencies. We call those nutrient deficiencies. And it comes from how nourished our parents were. That's where we get these deficiencies. And as we, kind of grow up, if we're not eating a healthy diet, that's compounded by worsening deficiencies. And then you add in pepper in a little stress. Stress chews up our magnesium and B vitamins, very crucial to making energy in our bodies. And then you hit about 40, two things happen. One is the number of mitochondria decrease. So you make energy even less well. So you're nutrient deplete, you're further nutrient deplete with these stressors. And all of a sudden you don't have as many mitochondria and you're making less energy. And after 40 and onward, you also have accumulated a lot of just environmental toxins. So the toxins we're exposed to in our air, the toxins that we ingest in our food, if you're not eating organic, maybe the toxic skin products. And for women put on 150 different chemicals per day through their skin products. So if they're not clean, that's a lot of product because our skin is our largest organ. So it absorbs very quickly. And so the relevance of toxins is it takes out our mitochondria more readily than any other part of our body because the mitochondrial DNA is protective and a protective coating called a histone. And so it's a vicious cycle. Toxins take out mitochondria decline, mitochondria rely on vitamins and minerals that we're not giving ourselves. And so so where do you even start, right? How do you peel this away? And I always say I have a 3D protocol, and that first D is diet and nutrients. And so we are optimizing someone's diet so they're nourishing their bodies. A lot of people, gluten-free, dairy-free are so restricted they don't nourish their bodies. So that's one of the key mistakes. We provide them with the key vitamins and minerals needed to make energy. And then I run nutrient panels. At the second visit, the second D is digestion or the microbiome. And you and I were talking about this before we started this interview about how the microbiome governs so much our immune health, our mental health, but it governs how we absorb those vitamins and minerals and how we clear toxins. So you have to be peeing and pooping, and you have to make bile. So your bile will transport the toxins out. And once you optimize that, only then do I talk about detoxification. And I'm not talking about woo. So detox has gotten a bad rap. Detoxification exists in our body to clear medications and all the toxins we're exposed to. There's a variety of different pathways that do that are not relevant, but you want to first do the first two steps. And now I'm measuring, and I'm shocked to find high levels of environmental toxins in 15-year-olds who don't dry clean their clothes, but dad does 2 bedrooms over. So it is that profound. The hidden one now is water. Our water, if you're not doing reverse osmosis or have some sort of filter to filter out the most common toxins, and a lot of them are gasoline byproducts or pesticides. So why does someone who eats all organic, why is pesticides high? Because it's in the water. And then it also, we pick it up on our shoes and we walk into our house and it's released into the air and we inhale it through our nose. And when you inhale it through your nose, it's in the bloodstream. If you can smell it or inhale it, 26 seconds to get to your bloodstream. And so we measure, and then depending on what's present, we teach people how to avoid, what they need to add, what they need to take away, have them do inventory of all those products for cleaning and personal care. And even men, if men say, oh, I only use 2 or 3 products. Well, when I was in my 20s, I used 3 products that were common ones. I didn't wear a ton of makeup. I used Nivea skin cream, which is totally toxic. I used Dove, the creamy shower soap, totally toxic. And I used L'Oreal eye makeup remover, totally toxic, for decades. And that will add up. And so once we do those 3 steps, it typically leads to hormone balance. And I don't know about you, Betsy, but I am sure you are seeing women younger and younger complaining of things that really, what we call those perimenopausal symptoms. I'm not sleeping. I have hot flashes. My libido's in the gutter. They're happening in our 40s, and then the women that are in their 30s. And it just seems like it gets younger and younger by the minute.
I'm just like, when you were starting to talk about those toxins, and I'm like, I was starting to think about all the products, and I've cleaned up some, but like there are some I forget. And I'm like, oh no, I need to start looking at this seriously because you're right, it compounds and it adds up. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And one tip we give our the patients and clients we work with is we say, while it can be expensive to replace everything all at once, is when you run out of something, do your inventory, identify the ones that need to be replaced, find the alternatives. And there's great resources in either the Skin Deep off of Environmental Working Group has a cosmetics database, and there's, I think, over a couple million products on the Think Dirty app. Find the alternatives. I buy my face washes $9.99 from Whole Foods, and it's rated a 0. It's totally clean. It lasts 2+ months. And so then transition one product at a time. Now, if you're sick, you probably want to ditch those products as quick as possible, but it's just a strategy. And that's what I say. It's the right steps in the right order with the right support. So a lot of these tips are me and my health coach coaching people on how to actually execute, because we all have been given plans, right? Whether it's for our businesses or maybe it's how to meal prep. And if you aren't supported and know how to execute, it's not going to happen, right?
With this mitochondria being these like little powerhouses in our body, if say we get to the point where we're, cleaning up our lives, can we recover these mitochondria?
You can, so you're making them. You can, with exercise, will boost the number, fasting. And so those are probably top 2, but so to an extent, yes, but you're going to, more than recovering number, you're going to recover the function as well. And that's what you're looking at. So their ability to make the energy.
And I with the nutrients, sometimes I'm going to ask you this straight out, because I see sometimes patients, there's so many different sales and things coming at us all the time. And sometimes patients walk in and they're like, I saw this advertisement on Facebook and this is going to make my life better and I'm going to have more energy. Like, how do you start kind of weeding through like what products to be using and, and what ones not to?
Yeah, I tell people my goal is when we get to the end of our 3D protocol, working on patients or clients one-on-one over 6 months sometimes, and we're launching in yet another group program to bring this even further to the masses for people who want kind of that next level, is the core 4 are, your multivitamin, mineral, and high quality with a little bit of methylated B9 and B12, so B vitamins. A good probiotic, and I'm in love with Megaspore because it helps repopulate our guts that have been, kind of thrown off by even one course of antibiotics. I like a quality fish oil. So omega-3s balanced with omega-6s. I add in a little borage oil to balance that out. And then they just came up with, there's a new essential fatty acid that was recently discovered called C15. And the website's fatty15.com. And they're finding that fatty 15, the C15, is equivalent to rapamycin as, as a senolytic and for autophagy purposes for longevity. And it's 1 pill a day. So that's just insane. And then with rapamycin, it's currently, all the studies are in animals, but there are human studies underway to utilize it. But, it can take some getting used to. You got to start low. It's once a week. Yes, it's pretty inexpensive, but, it's a prescription. You probably should be monitored. This is like a no-brainer to do C15, which is an essential fatty acid that we don't make very well or don't make at all. And so we just need to ingest it. But yeah, that's where I start. And then everyone who comes in with fatigue, we utilize one of our most potent mitochondrial support supplements. And there's 3 that I'd love to share with you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I do like a product from Research Nutritionals called ATP 360, taken in the morning, can be done without food for all the people intermittent fasting, usually about a month. And people will notice with everything else we're doing, a minimum improvement we see is 50% improvement in energy in 4 weeks, minimum. Usually it's more like 70 to 90. And I tell people, the more you do, the better you're going to feel. And I'll keep people on all the nutrients we select for 3 months. So we do tests. So at the second visit, we're further kind of honing in. It's not for life. We get them on repletion mode. And at the end of 3 months, we retest and hopefully take them back to those core 4. But I say anyone 40 and over really needs mitochondrial support. The second is a substance called urolithin A, and there's 2 companies that make it. And I'm pleased that Timeline Nutrition used to only have powder. It wasn't too bad. I actually preferred it in yogurt. I don't do a whole lot of dairy, but I was doing it with grass-fed yogurt. And it's got slightly berry flavor. Now they have gel caps. Kind of pricey. It's $100 a month for just that supplement. Slightly cheaper, but not by much, is something, a product by Pure Encapsulations that's called Renewal, Renual. And then the third would be C60. And you and I both know the makers of C60, and that helps support the mitochondria as well as like production of our own hormones. And then I'd be amiss not to tell you about my 2 favorite peptides. So I will reach in and do MOTS-C, that's MOTS-C. That gives you a boost within an hour. It's shorter lived. You have to be on it, 2 to 3 times a week for a month, 2 or longer as we're restoring stuff. But if you need an instant pick me up, and there's another one I just started using, SS31. So those are the 2 big mitochondrial peptides. They are injectable at current speaking. And one last tidbit is a lot of people are out there may take NAD in injection or orally. The problem with NAD is it can shut down a crucial process called methylation. And what methylation does is it turns off defective genes. So you don't want to shut that off.
Oh,
you want to be able to have it on. But there's a company out of Poland that's developed IMNA, and they even have a website, imna.com. And I'm signed up to be one of the first doctors to get their first distribution of this. And that will boost NAD. So it's an oral capsule, 1 capsule once a day without shutting down methylation. So
Ooh.
yeah. In the interim, I've been using another product called 5-amino IMQ. Same thing, boosts NAD, and NAD is vitamin B3 and crucial for all facets of all steps of energy formation. So there's so many different things, and it depends on where is it. I'm a little tired. I'm modestly tired. I'm really tired. And so we just escalated. If someone's really tired, then we're having that conversation about injectable peptides that I just reviewed.
I love that there's so many different options. And of course, I'm sure this is better to be doing with, you got to be doing this with somebody who knows what they're talking about, like you. Like going out and buying all these things yourself, not the greatest idea in the world.
And I would say that's the problem. You really want, if you're choosing supplements, aside from third-party tested to make sure that they have in them what they say and that they're not contaminated with heavy metals or other toxins, is that I think a stronger supplement maker is someone who's in on it clinically, because then you can actually know the ins and outs of how to use these. Not always. There's some great supplement brands that are the founders were clinical once and maybe don't do it as much now. And that's why I'm developing a few products, because I can now see the gaps and what is missing. And probably the next one to come out will be it'll be my 3D energy support product. And we'll call it Energize after the book, because it'll hit the 3Ds very quickly. The diet, digestion, detox. And I don't know of a single one that hits all 3. There's one out there that does 2 of the 3 pretty well. But yeah, you really want to be hitting all 3. And then it'll allow people a buffer, a time period where they can feel better quicker, so we can get them to do all the other healthy lifestyle changes they need to be doing.
Well, this is so wonderful, Dr. Rajka. Where can people find out more information about you?
Well, they can find more information on how to work with me and even have links to buy my book on drrajka.com.
Awesome. So everybody go make sure you check out drrajka.com. After you're done looking at Dr. Rajka's website, come back over to wytv7.org. Check out all our amazing programming. And don't forget to hit that donate button, because every dollar, even if it's just $1, makes a big difference. Your money's going into scholarships, community programs, and bringing more amazing programming like this today. So once again, thank you, Dr. Rajka, for taking the time to be with us today. I could talk to you for hours about this. This is amazing. So
yeah, you're welcome, Dr. Greenleaf. Or do people call you Dr. Betsy?
Either one. Dr. Betsy's fine. I like
yeah, thanks for having me on. I so enjoyed chatting with you.
All right, everybody, stay tuned and come back for next week for another episode of the Health Explained Show.